Hi, everyone. Dominic here with Dream Again and the Dreamstart interview series. We're basically meeting people I've never met before, especially in season one, and listening to three stories that I've never heard before, and maybe they've never shared before either. So it's extremely exciting. I'm going to bring on Marian Barnick. Hi, Marian. Welcome. Glad to have you with us.
Nice to be here, Dominic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, Marian is a registered kinesiologist, a movement therapist. She's into sports biomechanics, but what we want to do right now is put the work aside and just have a human moment. And I want to learn more about who you are as a person and share that. So let's start with one story, perhaps from your childhood or early life, a story about your origins, that perhaps a moment that set you up for who you wanted to become in the rest of your life. So take it away.
Absolutely. It's funny because as I got your questions and just the precursor to coming in and chatting with you, I'm looking over these questions thinking, no, this has nothing to do with business. This has nothing to do with biomechanics, my expertise in helping people, get over their body alignment issues and mobility. This is about me. And I'm so not used to talking in that way. It's not part of even what I used to look at as something that would be even important. Even to say that sounds wrong now because I've learned that it is important. It's what shaped me. It's how I work with clients, how I speak with clients, how I understand where they're coming from. And that's that origin story. That's where, I came from with and a lot of work, of course, to get through those some of those origin issues too. But
Sure.
my parents separated and then divorced when I was 10,
Oh,
and I
I'm
have two
sorry.
younger brothers. And there was a lot of issues back and forth in family court. Ultimately, living with my father, and my father was an entrepreneur as well, which is probably where that is in my blood to move forward and maybe mold my own sense of destiny in that way. But things didn't work all that well for him. And we started businesses, failed business, lost businesses, got jobs, lost the jobs. So, really understanding the the pressures from a financial standpoint
Yeah.
of being poor and what that means. And I don't think you understand it when you're young until you relate it to maybe someone outside of the scope of where you're at. So myself, my two brothers, um, we grew up that way in knowing that, well, if the rent wasn't paid, we'd have to move. Well, if the car broke down, we were walking. Don't ask for new shoes. New jeans were certainly not on the horizon with the start of
Yeah.
school. And it's just the way we lived. But when you see other kids and other kids start to reflect back what you didn't even know about yourself. So, laughing at your clothes or wondering why you couldn't join the track team or you couldn't travel with the team because your family couldn't afford to pay those fees that were required for the bus or for transportation or even for uniforms.
Hmm.
It definitely um, I don't even, I want to say change behavior, which I think it did. It just changed things because you're so used to being in that survival mode that when you start to think about what you're doing for school, where you're going to school, can you go to a higher level education?
Hmm.
Were those things on the table? It was all about survivorship. It was all about, can I afford this? It was all finances. It was all that money driven
Yeah.
aspect as opposed to that higher purpose of how do I serve?
Yeah.
Where's my niche? Where's my skill set? Where is my ability to help those that are in need? And it really took a lot to um, there's still struggles, obviously. There's still struggles with working at
Sure.
that and how you look at things. But it's taking it and saying, okay, this is who I am. How do I grow from this? And how do I become purposeful through my understanding of where I came from and my origin?
Hmm. Wow. It's funny. We share a similar, um, origin story in that sense. I'm from a larger family. We grew up in a couple of different continents, but that same sense of there's not a lot. You're always scrabbling, and then that realizing as you're interacting with other people comes a point where you're trying to move out of that scarcity into the abundance or the purpose
Yes.
mindset. So Okay, so now I'm really intrigued where this is then going to go. Let's head into the next story, which is that story of identity. Was there a moment when, coming out of that origin story, where you began to realize you wanted to be a particular kind of person? And could you share that story?
December 29th, 2006.
Take it away.
The birth of my son. Um, when you, for me, it was being a parent and um, being responsible for what this life was going to be and how he was going to grow up and the behaviors he was going to have and what he would hold dear to him and his influence in the world and how he would influence others and how he would treat others, how he would respond to others. All of a sudden, all of these things for his life were in my hands. And yes, scary, but oh my gosh, what an opportunity to
Wow.
grow. Like, what
Uh-huh.
an opportunity to say, okay, as you were saying, Dominic, the scarcity and that scrappiness and always needing to, like I say, fight. Like I'm a fighter. I fight. I scrap. I mean, don't dare tell me I can't do something because I just like, mm-mm.
Yep.
I was saying it to my brother today. We were talking about cruises. I don't know why, and I said something. I will never be on a cruise. Now it's because I get severe motion sickness. But
Wow.
hearing something and someone telling me I can't do something or knowing I can't, that makes me want to fight. I just, no, no, you can't tell me I can't. I can do this. I'll figure it a way. And that scrappiness has come in so handy with the survivorship and the need to push forward and get what's necessary. But it doesn't help with understanding about how to live in abundance and understanding about what you want to instill in that precious little non, like someone who has no barriers, who has only opportunities, and they may not need to see everything that I've seen.
Hmm.
And that's the change. That's it right there for him to see not only me and the changes in me, but how work can be of service, how especially in my industry, when I'm working with movement, when I'm working with patients who may be hurt, may be injured, may have diagnoses that are life threatening, it is so important how you reflect back and deal with patients that way. And it's such a learning experience for my son to see that as well. And that was the turning point, really. That was, I need him to look at me as a vessel to learn. So that was a change.
That's beautiful. So it's like a moment that forced you to cement what was becoming real and actually start living that. Um,
It was a
Beautiful.
really amazing way to reflect back on things that I can't even say take for granted, but were just part of me. And I had to do the work. I had to go deeper and say, hey, you
Yeah,
know what? This may have worked when you were 10, 12, kicked out of the house at 16, you become real scrappy. And those things do not need to serve my son. I
hmm,
need to. So I need to work on that. And he's seen me feisty. He sees when that needs to come out, but it doesn't need
yeah.
to be 24/7. And I
Hmm.
think that's the work that needs to be done and continues to, that I continue to work on.
That's great. That is great. So perfect segue, I think, into the third story, which is the story of purpose. Where are you now going? And I think you've already started shadowing this in the story. Um, was has there been a moment that it became very clear to you that uh, maybe after several years of now working in this new headspace, this new heart space, is there a moment that confirmed for you you're going in the right direction in your life now as an adult, and you're fully conscious and aware of maybe where you want to be going? Um, do you have a purpose story?
I like the way you've put that, the heart space. And I don't think I ever looked at my profession, my expertise in any way that was fulfilling my heart. I enjoyed what I did. I loved that I was good at it. Financial rewards, um, those things were great, but it wasn't filling that heart. It wasn't filling that, the end of the day when you can sit back and say, oh my gosh, This was amazing. Like, I cannot believe that I've been so lucky to be able to touch someone in that way, to help with this, or someone who, um, like, my whole premise is do not settle. And I think that comes from my scrappiness, but it also comes from my work where
Uh-huh.
people who may have given up hope on certain things, I can help them move better, feel better, get that body in alignment, and really give an opportunity to move forward where they may have felt stuck. So I
Hmm.
don't want people to settle. And that's the gift. That is that reward. And it reflects so well back to my son because he will see it in me. I will come home and I know I had mentioned to you about this woman that I worked with, Miss Sue. Amazing woman who she had a fall, she had a trauma, ended up with surgery, surgery damaged nerves, and it was awful. So she was just told that no, you won't be able to lift your foot again. So from a walking standpoint, that foot was down and it just moved this way, like basically her leg would drag. So of
Okay.
course, right leg, she couldn't drive because she couldn't move that ankle anymore. She was very dependent now on people, which really did not sit well with her feisty attitude
Yeah.
either.
Uh-huh.
And I spent a lot of time with her. It was grueling for her at times, and it was so fulfilling. And I learned so much from her because you spend time together. You learn so much, like you said, of their origin stories and where they're coming from and why that movement is so important for her.
Yeah.
And I would come home and my son would see me and he goes, "You just saw Miss Sue." And he could see by the light in me and
Hmm.
like you say, that heart's purpose, he could see that. And that was it. That's my purpose, that because helping those and that fulfillment that's internal, not financial, but it's my way. Like, this is what God has put me here to do, is to
Yes.
help
Hmm.
people who may not find that help, who may not know how to get to that next level. That's why I'm here. And so it's just so um, set in stone. Like, it's just so vivid to me now, where I could have been really good at, like, really good at writing medical legal reports. I would go to court, I've been called as an expert witness. All of that is fantastic. Love it. I love the kudos from my peers to say, hey, you're good at this, but
Hmm.
that's not hard. The
Right.
heart is working with those patients. So when I went back to do that patient-centered work,
Hmm.
that was it was a full circle moment, and I know that that's that driving force now of what I need to do.
That's amazing. That's well, thank you for this contribution to um, the universe, right? To humanity, being able to I think being able to get that clarity on your contribution is it's the point of each of our lives, right? We each have something unique that we're meant to be contributing, and the kind of the goal of our lives to figure out what that is. And it may not always be in our work. Some often I think especially if you're doing work you love, that is an indicator that uh, of what your contribution is. And obviously, if everything can come into alignment, then that's a fully lived life, and that's phenomenal. And that's kind of what I'm hearing from you, and that's exciting, Marian.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share. As I said, it's not something that is easy for me to do, but I think, again, in that growth standpoint and that need to, as you said, get more and more into alignment, it's something I can't shy away from and can only, take me down the path to better fulfillment and better for my son and better for my patients. So thank you for that
Wonderful.
opportunity, Dominic. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Well, thank you so much. Well, as you can see from dear viewers, from watching this, I've long believed that a story is the shortest distance between two people. And before this call, I've never met Marian, and now I'd absolutely love to know more about her. So I would imagine you're maybe feeling the same thing. And I think this is the power of sharing a story, sharing yours, knowing what your story is. So take a moment to maybe think through your origin and your identity and your purpose story, and see if it's something that you're prepared to share or start to own with your own brand. If you enjoyed this discussion, go ahead and share it with that one friend that you think would really enjoy this or get something out of it. And if you have someone that you'd like to nominate to come and share their stories, please go ahead and drop it in the comments. I would love to meet them. But Marian, thank you again for joining me. And I just absolutely wish you all the best with all of your work, and I think having these kinds of stories, being able to share them, it creates that faster connection with humans around the work that we do. So
My
congratulations.
absolute pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much. And such an opportunity to meet you as well and see what you're doing to make the world just a little bit better. Thank you.
Amen to that. All right, have a wonderful day, everybody.